All right, Dr. Granger, do you want to start since we're gonna have presentations first before we do official meeting?
Yes, I will. You want to go to the PowerPoint? So we start by just appreciating the work that the board did in the spring to work on the mission, vision, community promise, and strategic plan. And so the lead-in slides tonight are about that, but really what we're here to do is listen to our campus administrators and the hard work that they've done with their building leadership teams. So through teachers and other staff in their building to develop a comprehensive needs assessment to identify where they're gonna put their efforts this year to improve the outcomes our students are gonna have. And so although you'll hear from administrators, they are joined in spirit by their lovely staff who helped them develop these plans. And what we hope you see with the help of the board setting the vision at the top is that alignment between our buildings and our administrative work so that our students have continuity as they go through our system. So we're gonna start with Ms. Carissa Kelly, so.
All right, so I'm here as the principal of Gold Bar Elementary School.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. So obviously I didn't create these, but Heather did with the amazing team, and the building leadership team and I met earlier a couple weeks ago, and we just kind of made sure we were still aligned with our SIP and our vision. So we have 3 goals. The first one is by the end of the school year that we're gonna have a 10% increase in students meeting grade level standards in reading and math, because we know that's what the state tests. One way we're gonna do that is we're gonna really tighten up our MTSS interventions, and so I kind of put the triangle of what that means. So all students receive tier 1, that's just the good teaching practices that happen. But we know not all students get it at the same time. And so when they don't, we actually have the teachers, and there's a document and stuff that they fill out requesting that that tier 2 team looks at them. So then we can plan specific interventions for them during specific time during the day where they can get a little bit more support, a little bit more help to make sure they're hitting those grade level standards. And then we check back for in about 6 weeks, seeing how it's going. If they've made progress, we keep them on our what's called our watch list, and we'll just continue to monitor them and make sure they're making progress. If not, that's when they go up to the tier 3 support team, and that's like, do we need to see if they need an evaluation or maybe something else is going on. So that's one thing we're gonna strengthen up this year is just the intervention times. And then obviously our PLC, this is year 4 now, so we've gotten our essential standards and stuff, but we're really trying to collaborate, especially because we have 2 elementary schools. And so we're really trying to tighten up and making sure that we are aligned as well. And so some data that we are hoping to collect this year is iReady data, and then we keep some Excel sheet of tier 2 and 3 data, and then our title students. Our second goal is we're gonna increase by 10% in positive responses for our climate surveys from our students and parents. I know that aligns with the guiding principle number 4. They did a really good job about pushing out a survey to parents. We had low numbers come in, so while it looked really good, we want more people taking it. So that's kind of our goal, is to increase the family and community engagement in those surveys and just making sure that the students have a sense of belonging. And that'll continue with all of our outreach with our family engagement nights and stuff like that. And then our third goal is focusing on our multilingual students. So currently their math is at a 13.6% meeting standard, and we want to increase that to 50%. Part of that is the title program that we have, so they'll get support, but also having that MTSS and the tiered system so we can get them on our radar quickly and get them the interventions they need. So hopefully they make more than 1 year's growth in the school year. That's it for
Okay.
Gold Bar. Any questions before?
Anybody have questions? No, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, building off of what Carissa was talking about for her goal number 3, our first goal is we want to see growth in our multilingual learners in the area of ELA. Our school will be focusing, very similar to what I had talked to the board about in the spring, of making sure that we're keeping track of our students making not just 1 year's worth of growth, but that gap closing growth. And so this goal specifically targets that subpopulation of our ML learners. So I'll be working with our ML director, I'll be working with our ML teacher and our ML paras, as well as our teachers to provide professional development, small group instruction. We're specifically going to target vocabulary and language acquisition for those students, but it's going to help support guiding principle number 2. For goal number 2, last year the district did a lot of work on aligning social and academic behaviors throughout not just one individual grade level, but from the time they come to us as 5-year-olds all the way to the time that they reach high school as 12th graders and seniors and ready to move on further. Our school is going to be working really hard at establishing what that looks like for Solon Elementary in collaboration with Gold Bar Elementary, and making sure that we can dive deeper into helping support those students find success in not just the academic behaviors that they need to be successful in class, but also the social behaviors, so we can support them and help them maintain access to the learning environment. Great. Last goal we have is professional development opportunities from staff. One thing our staff is really looking for is capacity building professional development. And so this feeds into the district's focus on universally designed learning, or UDL, for our that we'll be focusing on as a district. I also want to provide, we have some really great teachers in our building who have some really strong practices, so I want to give them more opportunities to get in front of their peers and do some teacher-to-teacher professional development opportunities as well. I know Carissa mentioned it, but one thing that we're going to be working really hard on is aligning our elementary schools for PLCs. We're working on community messaging around student safety at the elementary level. And then we have our new benchmark curriculum that we'll be implementing, so our teachers will be working closely together on implementing those curriculums. And then another highlight that I just wanted to share with the board is that we've adjusted our daily schedule, and with support from the district and some really hard work, we're going to be having lunch in the gymnasium during the school year. That adjustment in schedule will get us 25 extra minutes a day, which over the course of the school year is 9 academic school days. So for the cost of 17 new lunch tables that we can put in the cafeteria, we're gaining 9 days of instructional time. So that was a really exciting thing for our team, and we're excited to utilize that time to help support the growth of our students. That's all I have.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Of course.
Do we know when the last time the grade school had lunch in the gym?
Ooh, no.
I know, that's an
We've got some
open,
staff who've been there for a long time that will say that they remember it back in the early 2000s.
it's been a long time.
Exciting.
So yeah, I'm excited for you guys.
Wonderful. It's great to be in front of you guys again. It's been a while. So again, I'm Rich Chapel, the principal at the middle school. And
I'm Paige Pineda, the assistant principal at the middle school. Nice to, for the first time, present to you guys.
the first couple of slides are a few of our data collections that we go through. Some of them are the SBA scores that we have collected and report to the state is level 4, 3, and 2, 4 being the top rated. But we really focus in on 3 and 4 of meeting proficiency standards for our students. And you can see if you go to the next slide, Kayla, that'd be great. We're also keeping track of our STAR data as well. This kind of gives us a guideline and guiding principle of where we're at throughout the year.
We wanted to start with sharing some data so that we could show you what we were basing our goals off of. So looking at our data, they showed similar trends, and we're wanting to see roughly 300 students in grades 6 through 8 to make more than 1 year's growth in one school year.
Yeah, and our focus really goes back to being back to normal, or really back to, I don't know, the essentials of teaching. Last year was our first year we saw a little dip in our scores, and we want to just get back to the basics of teaching. And so if you go to our next slide of our 3 goals, they're all very similar: ELA, math, and science. We want to see a 10% increase in our student scores across the board. And really we want to hit home with going back to really doing well our tier 1 instruction. That's instruction for all students, and then focusing on our PLC work. Diving down of where those gaps are, and our homeroom teachers or all of our teachers will find where those gaps are and help those students grow where they're at, so we can close those gaps and get one more, or get a year's more growth out of our students.
Yep, and that tightly aligns with the first 3 guiding principles in our strategic plan. Can you go to the next slide? Thanks, Kayla. And so like Brett said, we're going to achieve this by really focusing on our tier 1 instruction. Like we mentioned before, that's the kind of the blanket instruction that every student gets. That's their access to education. So really focusing on having that be really high quality, rigorous instruction. And we're gonna support our teachers through coaching cycles, feedback, professional development. We're doing a lot of work on universal design, so making sure all students have access points to that tier 1 instruction.
We're also going back to look at how we go into classrooms and give feedback. We're in the process now with our intern of looking at how we can help give better feedback and give better data collection for us to better navigate where we need to go for our teachers and students. So we're excited for this year to see the growth of our students and the success of our district. Thank you.
Middle school.
Anybody have questions?
Okay.
Just if somebody doesn't know, STAR data is, what's the acronym for that? STAR.
Ooh,
Oh boy.
I don't know if I even know that off the top of my head. I know that's in our, that's our benchmarking.
Okay.
K-5 uses iReady, 6
Yeah.
uses STAR.
Sorry.
Okay.
ST,
It's fine.
accelerated reading at the end.
I do you guys know what STAR stands for? I don't even know. I would have to Google it off the top of my head
Okay,
or go back and look at it,
That's
so
okay.
that's a good question.
thank you very much. There's so many acronyms, I don't know how you guys know all of them.
Good evening, Board. I'm Sarita Whitmire-Skeeth, Principal of Sultan High School.
And I'm Ryan Malone, Assistant Principal of Sultan High School.
First, I want to start out with just thanking Ryan. I've been out for variety of things beginning of the month, and so Ryan really stepped in and has been a major help. So I just want you guys to know how amazing we people here in the Sultan School District are, because when things are going on in your personal life, people step up, and so I want to say thank you for that. Appreciate that. So one of the things, one of the focus for this year is for the kids, and so that came about with the late Mr. Skeeth, and so this presentation really goes in hand, even though we started this process towards the end of last year. Everything that comes about is for the kids, and so one of the things we have, well, actually we have 3 goals that we're working on. Our first goal is our ELA goal. And it just doesn't happen in the English classrooms. This is across the board. So we're talking all classes. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve the ability to read complex text. You guys know that work out in the workforce. Kids need to know how to do that, regardless of what field they're in. They don't need to just know it in the English class. They need to know how to read those manuals. They need to know how to do all those things. So we want to make sure that's across curriculum. They need to know how to write using evidence. So back up what you're saying. And then engage in academic discourse, again, across all content areas, not just in the ELA classroom. We want to do this, we want to increase by 70% of meeting or exceeding proficiency. Last year, we had 113 10th graders take the SBA, which is the standards-based assessment through OSPI. We had 68% meet level 3 and 4. So we want to increase that, of course. Again, strategies are doing across curriculum. It's not just an ELA. It's not just going to be found in the ELA classroom. We want students to be able to do evidence-based writing and structured academic discussions. So we want good discussions happening in the classroom, not just, you know, the teacher up there saying, well, this is how it is, and leaving it at that. We want that discussion to go back and forth because we want kids to be able to think for themselves and be able to back up why they believe and think what they do. So that's some of the things that we're gonna do. And then that intervention through flex time. So last year we implemented flex. That flex is that extra 25 minutes where students get that extra support and that extra help that they need regarding what classes they're in. So those are some of the things that we're gonna do for ELA. Do you wanna add to ELA?
Well, I think with Flex, we can definitely find ways to make it more, work better and be more effective for students. So we're working through that. It's a new thing and everyone's learning, and there's definitely room for growth in that area.
Next slide. So our next one is a math goal, but again, it's not just happening in the math class. You might see some of this stuff in our science classes and our CTE classes. Strengthening mathematical reasoning, conceptual understanding, and the multi-step problem solving. That seems to, you know, sometimes catch people up, but that's so important to go through all those steps, and so we want to be able to do that. Again, we want to at least 70% of students meeting exceeding proficiency. Again, 113 students took the SBA in math. We had 29% that made 3s and 4s in 10th grade. So obviously, we have some work to do there. One of the things that we try to understand, why in math our test scores where they're at in our math scores, and you will get all sorts of different people telling us as to why. One of the things that people will say is that really this is a junior class test, but because we only teach, so kids actually get up through Algebra 2. Well, they don't get Algebra 2 until maybe their junior year, and so some of that concepts might be lost. So we're trying to help make that a little bit better and trying to get teachers to understand and teach some of that stuff. And so that's where that flex comes in too, so that they are able to catch up on some of those things that maybe students might be struggling with. Key strategies would be that multi-step real problem solving, so real world solving, mathematic discourse and modeling, error analysis and reasoning. You might want to hire some of our students to help you with. And then that targeted intervention, that's gonna be some, that key stuff with flex. Our third goal was we want to increase access to rigorous coursework and clearly defined post-secondary pathways. We have so many kids that are going off campus to seek education off campus, which is great because they can get an AA and all that kind of stuff. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring some of that stuff here on campus. And so if students stay in Sultan at Sultan High School, eventually what we'd like to do is where kids can earn an AA even by taking classes at Sultan High School. And so those are some of the things we're doing. We now have increased our advanced coursework in all subject matters. So we have AP in English, we have AP Math, we have AP US History, AP Government, AP Science. So we have all these in all of these different areas now so that kids can earn these different things. And then we have college and the high school CTE courses that the students take. We also have it in all of those other subject areas that I just mentioned about AP stuff. So again, trying to make sure that students have that pathway, because we have some kids that can't get to Everett and take, they can't be dual because they can't go and get there. Or they have to take a bus, and then that's a financial burden and all that kind of stuff. So what we're trying to do is make it so that all of our students have that opportunity to seek those upper division classes.
And I've had several anecdotal conversations with students just who do Running Start, and I ask them, if you had the ability to earn your AA at Sultan High School, would you still go off campus? And they say, no, I would love to do that here. It's not as simple as just adding a class at the high school, because you have to partner with the college. And so me and Andrea Garibay, one of our counselors, have been meeting with Everett Community College. We did this last year. We're gonna look at some other places we can meet with. But like, we have AP Gov that we're bringing back this year, but you have to have a corresponding staff member at Everett who's willing to sponsor that. So they don't have one who can do that right now. So the trick is trying to find the right matches for our kids so that we can offer more opportunities. But yes, we definitely want to increase our offerings, but also get the kids who can do that and get more kids involved in it. Because I think we have a lot of kids who aren't taking the AP classes that could do so.
So our action plan of strengthen our instruction through our focused professional development that we're creating throughout the year, our PLC collaboration, and having those common instructional practices so that teachers that teach the same subject matters and those kind of things. Use of our data, which is through our common assessment in our student work, identifying the gaps and adjusting that instruction when we need to. And again, the importance of that targeted flex. Again, you guys helped us create that with our 4-period schedule. And so last year, we saw some great gains for students that really took that serious. And so we really appreciated that opportunity, and I'm sure those kids did too. What are we gonna do? We're gonna monitor progress monthly, quarterly, semester, and again, at the end of the year. So there'll be monitoring throughout all of that. And then, what is success gonna look like? Well, hoping higher achievement, so more students are meeting or exceeding the standards. Stronger skills, so students being able to demonstrate the skills that we have laid out for them to demonstrate. Greater access, so students that didn't have those opportunities, now we are increasing those opportunities. And then lastly is more students prepared to what comes next, whether they go into a 2-year college, a 4-year college, go into the workforce, go into the military. Hopefully they have these skills to be successful wherever they go.
My question was gonna be about the schedule, and it sounds like you answered it kind of, that it's working out, the 4x4.
So for the feedback we've received has been very positive from students. The data, go ahead.
We've had far fewer behavior referrals. It's probably due to less time passing between transitions in classes. The students like having the ability to only have to worry about 4 classes instead of 7. Our Fs went way down. It's hard to compare that because it's like apples to oranges. But they only have 4 classes. We've added this flex period in. We had way more kids earn credits last year on the first go around.
That's
So,
awesome.
and then, so the schedule is positive right now.
That's great. And I love all the AP classes. That's awesome too. Anybody have questions or anything?
I do. I noticed none of you brought up attendance. Are we working to improve attendance, because when they're not here, they're not learning?
Right, so, yeah, we are always working to improve attendance. We request meetings, we try to get families to come in, and so if you had a student who was in our building and gone all the time, I'm trying to coordinate a meeting with you and with your student, and we're trying to just figure out what is going on that's keeping you from school. We can't force kids to come to our buildings every day. We have to do a better job at getting kids to understand the value of why they need to come to school every day. And that starts with staff messaging, making kids feel welcome and want to be at Sultan High School. So we are doing our best to do that. There's no easy answer. It's not just Sultan School District, it's all over the state and the country, so.
And for the younger ones, it's getting their parents to understand that they need to get their kids to school, because it's not necessarily the kids, it's the parents
Yeah,
that
it's a
need to get their kids
mindset.
to school.
I was to say at Gold Bar, cause being new there, that was one of my things is like, cause I've done the high school and the middle school, like, I wanna look at attendance and that was gonna be one of my principal goals. And I looked at the report card and Gold Bar is actually at 80-point-something% for attendance. And so while that's on my radar and I definitely wanna continue, that's actually pretty good. So it's like, okay, we have 80% of our students here, let's show that they can increase their test scores. So that was one thing I looked at, cause it's like, that's an easy, like, let's try to get them in the door, but it's on my radar, but it's not a high priority necessarily right now, just cause it is a good number.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like ALA when we worked together, when we had kids that are absent, and I would call their parents and say, I'm coming to your house, and I'm knocking on the door, and I'm like, all right, get in the car.
This is a true story, yes.
So, I mean, I'd call parents up, the parents were like, well, come and get them. So I would go drive over there, get in the car, and kids would get in the back, and I'd take them to school. So, but we can't do that. And so, you know, if we could, that would be, but, you know, we just, again, we got to appeal to them as to why an education is important. And then once they get into those doors, we got to try to keep them there by making them feel important and making them feel wanted and giving them reasons to be there.
Well, it sets the precedent too for adulthood when you have to get up and go to a job. And not showing up for work causes you to not have said job, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's just kids don't view it that way.
No, and that's what I'm saying, we need to change that mindset because the parents are, it's grade school, it's no big deal.
And to Miss Kelly's point, like 85 to 90% of our kids are showing up every day, doing everything correct, and so we like to focus on all the wrong things that are happening, the bad things that are happening, and the kids that aren't getting there, but we have a lot of kids who are doing great things and showing up every day.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a question, Michael?
I do, but that's all right.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I've just, I was really thrilled to see the idea of trying to increase math scores to hitting 70% efficiency. That's a huge goal. I mean,
It is huge,
that's-
but we gotta do something.
oh, I don't disagree with you. I mean, honestly, that was something that's been bothering me for a long time. To sort of see that was really made me happy. And yeah, I didn't actually really have a question. Just was really want to say really stoked to see that happen. Hope you guys can nail that one down. That'd be big for me personally.
Thank you for being here, Sarita.
Well, hopefully all of this segues well into what I'll be doing this year. So Heather Anderson, now the principal of the Parent Partnership Program and supporting all things ALE for the district. Attendance, engagement, parent involvement, all of that speaks exactly to what you guys have tasked me with. The cry from the community, your vision, my mission is to expand the learning options for students and families in our district within our district and recover some of the exodus out by offering more flexible learning options within. So this being the first year, there's not a lot of baseline data to go off of except for maybe numbers around the students that are leaving the district or choosing something other than, or numbers around course completion within our ALE programs currently and what that feels like. So I would be curious to hear back from you some look-fors that you might have for the Parent Partnership Program and the ALE program this year too, after we'll talk about these goals, but if there's something that you guys are interested in seeing how progress is going throughout the year, I'd love to hear that and be able to kind of be monitoring that as well. So our first goal is that the students that are enrolled in Sultan Summit Academy, of course, we want to have them seeing academic growth. For everyone, it's different. We've got kindergarten through 8th grade in the Parent Partnership Program, but we're also supporting the SVA and the Open Doors as well. So we want to be seeing that academic growth, whatever that looks like for those students within their individualized learning plan. And of course, aligns with your culture of continuous improvement. The second one would be to increase student engagement and school connectedness. It's measured by that attendance, their participation, course completion, student feedback survey data. So we want to see if they're going to join our program, the whole point is to keep them, right? And to not see them just fade off into said good night. So it's really helping them get to that graduation pathway. Or back into our traditional schools, you know, by reconnecting and reestablishing that desire to be in school through culture and engagement within the partnership program, so. The third goal is that families would be participating in at least one formal education planning conference. They're required by law, so they have to. But really willingly participate and become actively involved in what is going on in their child's education, have a finger on the pulse of what's going on with their child so that they could be making sound educational decisions moving forward, whether it's to stay in the ALE program or transition back into the traditional school setting. So simple goals, if you go to the third one, or the fourth goal, this is just a grid, so to speak, because there are different elements to what we offer through ALE, the Parent Partnership Program, the SBA, and Open Doors. There's different ways that we're gonna be measuring that academic growth, that student engagement, that parent involvement, and different action plans in each one of those settings on how we might do that. So I tried to capture as much of that as I could in tiny little bullet points in one little slide for palatability. But again, all this year, I'll be collecting baseline data on all the things that we're doing just to see where we're at for this first year so we can make growth goals for next year. As you think on it, if there's things that you're interested in learning more about and you would like to hear me share progress on, I'm happy to be gathering that along the way.
Questions, comments? Michael? Mike?
How's everything going moving forward with the new program?
As of this minute, we have 35 students in that are signed up for the Parent Partnership Program. I can't speak to the SVA and Open Doors side right this minute. I don't have access to that information. Most of the students are coming from our traditional building, which can be looked at in two ways. One, we are losing students from the traditional building to an alternative, or two, we just saved 35 students from leaving our district. But the families that are coming are super excited about the opportunity to have something different available for their child, and hopefully something that really gets them to fall in love with learning again, because I'm sensing a lot of overwhelmedness with the traditional instructional setting and just trying to find something that meets either the needs of their family and their family schedule, work schedules, to where, you know, they have Tuesday, Wednesdays off and they never get to do anything with their family because it doesn't align with their work schedule, or just the student being able to sit through a full 6.5 hour day and having the flexibility to do something different. So the families that are signing up are super excited about the option.
Have we been able to, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'll echo what Heather's saying, the families that are signed up for this in their late spring or have been trickling in over the summer have shared some really high level of enthusiasm that the district has brought this program back and is excited to partner with Heather and give this a go.
We did a small little open house today for, just communicated with those that have already expressed some interest. We had about 5 families come through today. I'll do another one tomorrow from 9 to noon. So if any of you wanna pop by and see how the spaces are shaping up, we're on 4th and Fur, so on the northwest corner of their campus. And I think we've done a pretty good job of designing some spaces for the families that will hopefully meet the needs of all the learners, so feel free to pop by and say hi, I'll be there.
Have we been able to communicate with the families of students that we've lost to Monroe? To say, hey, we're doing this now, can you come back?
Yes, and I mean, so we did that initially to ask them, you know, what appealed to them about Monroe, if they could do something different, what would they like to see, and really tried to use that feedback and that information to shape out what we built this year. You can't direct market homeschool families, that's you can't do that, but I mean, as soon as we get Parent Square up and running again and kind of get our communication lines reestablished to be able to put some media out there. I know we're waiting on a sign and a few other things. So I think that once the word gets out, that's just kind of been the major hurdle, is just communicating out to the community that we exist and we're here. And so I think hopefully we have a lot of positive testimonies coming from families that will be experiencing the program, and we'll get some media out there soon to the rest of
Marianne,
them.
did you have anything?
She answered my question about 35.
About 35 right now. Thank you very much, Heather. I appreciate it. Oh, we gotta clap for Heather too.
So, thank you guys, again, not just to the people you see here, but to their teams, and I just wanted to circle back and hit a few things that hopefully stuck out to the board, and one is, it's about attendance, but it's also about strong tier one instruction. One of the things that student data usually tells us is if the learning's not engaging, if they don't have a connection to the building, they're less likely to come. And so every building is focusing on that tier one, that first instruction, and I think that's really important that we do that. And tied into that, you heard from all of them and a plan for intervention and also extension. I think this has been a focus of our conversation as they've come back, is there's a lot of discussion about the students that are behind and making sure that we're intervening on that. But really, intervention is for all students, even if they're accelerated and moving forward. And as our demographic changes a little bit and our families are expecting a little bit of push for high-level academics, we have to see both as an opportunity to reach our students. And so applaud them for their efforts. It starts with building schedules that build in time for those types of things. And each of our buildings has some sort of intervention extension time. It looks a little different in each building. We're doing some walk-to models in the elementary, but we've got a homeroom 3 days a week at the middle school, flex at the high school. So I think it starts with campus leaders building schedules that support a strategic plan that's set by the board. Because if you don't have that, to Perry's point, 9 instructional days because we invested in some cafeteria tables should pay dividends. That's more time in front of teachers. And so I think that's really important and wanted you to know that. And while you'll hear from each of them individually throughout the year, they'll all be back in this format in February to do a mid-year report to say, here's the goals we told you August 24th, and here's where we are mid-year. And then you'll hear from them again next August with an end-of-year report and a launch. So this one is a little bit shorter than next August will be because it's not fair to tell them to do something they didn't know ahead of time to do. So, but you'll have some definite things to point back to and look at. And iReady and STAR data and SBA are consistent measures that you should hear them talking about and will talk about with them. But it starts with strong tier one instruction, and we got great teachers. We gotta keep professional development. We gotta keep PLCs moving. If we're gonna give up 90 minutes of instruction every Friday, it has to translate. And they've all heard me say this, that has to translate to something that benefits students. Otherwise, we might as well teach them for the 90 minutes. And so I appreciate all the work that they've done. I appreciate Dr. Douglas and Mitch and Isaac. I mean, it really is when we 11 of us get in a room together, there's a lot of collective care for kids and leadership of our district, and they don't get thanked very often. And so hopefully you're proud of what you see in our leaders, because second to teachers, the most impactful humans in effect to student achievement is leadership. And there's an absence of the next generation of leaders stepping up to the plate. And so when you have good leaders, you want to recognize that and appreciate it. So just hopefully you're pleased with what you saw, and we will look forward to having them back.
Update on STAR, standardized testing for the assessment of reading.
That actually makes sense.
Thank you. Did that like in 5 minutes, but thank you. Thank you very much. So we'll have our regular our budget presentation will start at 6 p.m.
Yeah, so we can adjourn this one by consensus of the board at 5:40.
I make a motion to adjourn at 5:40.
A second.
We don't really technically need.
All right. We got it, so.
We got it anyways.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No one wants to stay for the budget?
See you all on Wednesday at 1 o'clock right here.
They're like, just tell us how much we get in the building to spend.
That's what I would.
Yeah.